What is going on, everyone? We're going to be starting up here in a second. We're going to be bringing Tom on here. Hope everyone is doing great. We got a great session planned for everybody today. I'm super excited. We had a huge turnout for this. Super pumped. Hey, Brian. Hey, Rellin. Hi, Randy. Brent. How you doing? Paul, Rob, Steve, Ed, Pete, Jason, Jim, Brian, Penda, Jordan. We still got people coming in. We're almost at max capacity. So we're going to get to max capacity here in a second. So, hey, David, Mike, Larry, Carmi, Rick, Eric, Chris, Bill. How you doing, Scott? Tom, if you're listening, your webcam and mic should be all set.
All right.
Here you come. You're coming on now. All right. We got Tom here. And we are now at max capacity. Actually, it looks like it's allowing us maybe a couple people past max capacity.
Everybody fit on the bus. We get as many people as we can on the bus.
Yeah. I mean, it's allowing us to go overboard. Either that or some people can't see. I'm not sure.
Did everybody bring their clubs tonight? I hope you did. Bring your clubs. Make some swings in your living room.
I'm just going to give this a couple more minutes. Jason said, "What's up, Tom?" Jerry said, "What's up, Tom?" Eileen, how you doing? Michael from Vegas. Bob.
Thanks for coming out tonight.
Chris, Bill, how you doing? Yes, thank you.
I hope
Jordan says he's got his clubs. How you doing, David? Hi, Ed. Hey, Will. Fran says hi, Tom. Okay, so we have. I'm going to go ahead and get started because we're at max capacity. It looks like it was letting a couple people in here and there. Mike is listening on the way home. He just finished his round with his 10-year-old. That's awesome. We have a full probably hour, I'm guessing, maybe even a little bit more. Yeah, real quick on the comments, guys. So the comments are all private, and the reason why we did that is just so people don't get caught up in all the comments and everything like that. So that's why no one else can see the comments. So we don't want you guys to get distracted from all the knowledge that Tom Saguto is going to be laying down for us today so we can go play our best golf this year. That's why we disabled comments, to keep it that simple. The reason why Tom and I have the earmuffs on, or I have the earmuffs, looks like he's got the earbuds in, is to reduce the echo, because we do have some video that we're going to be playing, because it's great to have this webinar and everything. You'll get to learn a little bit about us, but the most important thing that Tom wanted to do for you guys is make sure that you guys have some concrete things, some of the most important things that you can take away from this webinar and go ahead and play some better golf. So let's go ahead and get started. Real quick before we get started, shout out to all the essential workers, all of our people in the medical and care field, for everything that you guys are doing during the pandemic. And I hope everyone is staying safe and healthy, and wishing everyone all the best. And hopefully this will all be over soon, and we'll be able to go back to our normal lives. So just a quick shout out there. Michael said he brought some of his Mizuno M20 clubs today. If I don't get to, hey Dave, if I don't get to everyone's comments, it's just we have over 150 people in here, so it's kind of hard to keep up. But
the biggest webinar in history.
Yeah. So that's right. So real quick on the sound check, can everyone hear Tom and I? Okay. Everyone is saying yes. I saw one person said no, so you might just want to check. Yes. Okay. Everyone's good on that. All right. So let's go ahead and get started here. I'm so excited for this. This is such a huge hit. Thanks for everyone for coming. Over 600 people registered for this event. I'm sure it's probably still going. David, if you can't see me and you can see Tom, I think there's a way on your end to kind of control the video of what's going on up there. Yeah, so super excited. So let's go ahead and get into it. That's awesome, Will. All right, so who is this webinar for? If you're looking to improve your swing the quickest way possible, and you are definitely in the right place, because Tom's instruction, there's comments here talking about people who have reduced their handicap by 7 strokes in a couple of weeks. If you want to be more consistent playing golf, if you want to have more fun, you are definitely in the right place, and we're going to be providing you that today. Who is this not for? If you want to perfect all the P9 positions, and you want your swing to look a certain way, and you're totally dialed into that, this is probably not for you. If you're not willing to keep an open mind about the golf swing, this is probably not for you. And if you're not willing to learn quote unquote different ideas, and when I say different, some of these things have been around for a long time, but they may be different from some of the traditional coaching that we're probably all accustomed to. All right, so let's go ahead and get in here. We're going to do a couple quick bios. We'll get to, and guys, there's going to be a Q&A session. So I would hold off your questions, because some of your questions might get answered during the presentation. And then we'll specifically have a Q&A session. So I'm your host today. I am the founder of UpGlove. For those of you who do not know what we do, we make great golf gloves for about half the price. So here's our glove. We basically, we're a subscription business, so we really tailor to the avid golfers, people who play a lot. And our gloves are top grade Cabretta glove. They're super soft. And we deliver those either on a monthly, quarterly basis to our players. So I'm also an avid golfer. I've been an athlete my whole life. I played college sports. I didn't play college golf. And I'm a single-digit handicap. I have 2 dogs, Brutus and Champy, and I am originally from Cleveland, Ohio, and I am a huge Browns fan. Go Browns. Okay. So, and now we have Tom. A lot of you will know who Tom is. Tom is a PGA member. He's the founder of Saguto Golf. His YouTube channel has been blowing up because he's been helping golfers lower their scores and strike the ball like the wrath of God, like he did in his last driver video. And he also I believe he's also an avid guitarist, if I'm
that's
not
correct.
mistaken.
That's correct. If you watch some of those
Yeah.
socially distanced golf academy, you'll see the guitar playing come out more often there.
Nice. And then Tom here is blowing up. Tom recently just got interviewed by one of the like regional news stations or something like that.
Reporter, this lead anchor in the Tri-Cities area of Virginia, Tennessee, reached out to me last week or a couple weeks ago because he was playing in this men's league, and I'm sure a lot of you play in some leagues like that. And he found my channel, and he was so excited about this information that he came back and gave me a email and said, "Hey, you want to do an interview tomorrow evening?" I said, "Sure." He said, "We'll talk about some golf and some golf swing." No problem talking about golf swing. That sounds like fun, right? So next day we get together. Thank goodness I had everything ready, because the second I'd hit OK to get on that video chat, all the cameras were on the screen and everything. And we were talking about his journey or how his swing had improved so much using the things we're going to talk about in the webinar today. And yeah, so we had a great time talking about golf swing. It was a ton of fun and really simple. I mean, he just couldn't believe how fast he was improving.
That's awesome. That's awesome here. But we reached out to you probably before he did, so I'm gonna take that.
You're the reason everybody's reaching out. It all started in Elk Club. You heard it in Elk Club.
All right. So real quick before we move on, Youngstown, huge Brown fans. That's awesome, Will. Jason, don't wear no gloves. That's fine. Some people are saying they missed the long hair, Tom. And then yes, Bob, that was pretty awesome, him hitting the building. And then we got Ed here, who's JETS, Jets
you
guy.
Got Jets colors.
All right. Yeah, that's true. We got Jets colors, Ed. So there you go. Hop on some up glove. All right. So let's go ahead, and Jerry's a Bills fan. So Tom, I think one of the things I think really resonates with a lot of people, especially if they haven't heard it, is kind of your story of becoming a PGA member. So can you just kind of tell us about your story on becoming a PGA member?
Before I talk about my story, the PGA, it's the PGA of America. You might be familiar with the PGA Championship. That's the organization that I belong to, the PGA of America. And as a member, we're experts in the business side of golf, and I particularly like to teach. So that's my niche in that. And when you become a member, you're just more of a certified expert. 28,000 members in the entire world. So it's a more exclusive group of people that are devoted to growing the game. And as you see on my YouTube videos, I'm all about you getting this swing down as fast as possible, having the most fun as fast as possible, because this game is so hard. Right. But my story is probably like most of y'all's. A range rat. I'm a range rat hitting thousands of balls as a high school golfer, and I played high school golf because it was fun, it was free, something to do, and I got the bug, and I was all about going through every YouTube video, every golf magazine, and getting top instruction from anybody, paying for instruction. And what I found was I had the work ethic and the drive to get anything done. I was always a really diligent, hard worker. Like when I play guitar, you practice guitar, you get better. Well, in golf, it was frustrating because I work on all these things these instructors and experts were telling me to do. And that was all in the traditional golf swing. And I was not getting better at all. In fact, my game would just hover anywhere between 75 and 95, and mostly towards the upper end of that spectrum. So it was rather miserable. And I loved golf so much, I wanted to get into the business side of it. So I went to Coastal Carolina University, and they have a PGA program where you can get your membership and also a business degree. So it was a great program to do both of that.
Nice.
And, it was a ton of fun. Yeah, imagine setting up your schedule where you have your classes in the morning and you just golf the rest of the day.
I'd sign up for that.
It was like a vacation.
Twice on Sunday.
A vacation. My goal was to play tour golf. I wanted to see how good I could get. Figuring if I can hit thousands of balls a day, at least as many as possible, and we've got the TrackMan and we've got the hitting base, we've got 3 instructors available all day long. how could you not become a tour player with the work ethic you put into it? Well, what I found was my first semester in, I was putting all the work in. In fact, we had this practice log, and I should have brought it here, but it was a log. You log all your practice for each day and how many balls you hit and what you did. And I swear that log was worn out in the first semester, like all 30 pages of it. And I wasn't getting any better. I had taken so many lessons, and I was just about to throw my clubs in the lake. I was done. I was about ready to give up the dream of playing golf. Playing golf, or even just playing golf the rest of my life for anything. I was just ready to take up basket weaving, something else. And it just so happened that I had to take a playing test. You have to take one to become a PGA member, because they don't want the average people shooting. They don't want PGA members shooting in the hundreds, right? You got to pass a playing test.
Doesn't look good. Doesn't look good for their kind of their program and their kind of
they want to
union,
have a
so
controlled quality with the membership there. You got to be able to have some reputation
Sure.
and quality with the name. And I remember my first playing test, I shot like in 95, 84 or something ridiculous, and I was ready to throw my clubs in the lake again. And then that next semester, I had to go on an internship, and I met this golf pro at this golf course where he was my mentor. And I said, hey, I'm at absolute rock bottom here. Can you help?
Right.
And thinking, I'm just grasping at straws. And he said, yeah, let's just go out at lunchtime on your break, and we'll just do a quick little lesson for half an hour. Okay, great. Go out there. And to give you an idea about my background, I'm all traditional golf swing at this point. No, not open to anything outside of that realm. So I'm all about shifting your weight, lifting your arms, releasing the hands, all those traditional things that y'all probably learned on YouTube and in the magazines most commonly. So I'm very against and not open to trying something such as stack and tilt. Heavens, I said those two words. But the pro said, when I got out in the range, he saw my swing, he saw me lift my arms up, he saw me shift my weight, and saw me hacking it, playing Army golf left and right. And he said, all right, after about 3 balls, he had enough. He said, stop. Okay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to put your weight on your left leg about 55 or 60%. And then in the backswing, I want you to, instead of lifting, I want you to take it around your body. I'm like, that sounds like stack and tilt. And he's like, just shut up and hit the ball. And in my mind at the time, I didn't have an open mind to this. I mean, Sean talks about how you got to have an open mind for this. I had no other options. I was out. I was exhausted.
Right.
I would
You're
try
at rock bottom.
anything off the street from anybody. And the first ball I hit was like this beautiful push draw, and it was farther than I ever hit a 6-iron in my life. I was like, I didn't feel like anything. And then I did it again. I did it again. I did it again. I did about 5 of them in a row. Beautiful divot, beautiful ball flight. They were all draws. And I hadn't hit a draw since like 1993 when I was born. And so from that moment, I was sold. And then when I started getting more into the swing, I wanted to help as many people as possible realize that buttery feeling of impact. It didn't have to be thousands of balls a day. In fact, in 2 weeks after that lesson, I only practiced a couple days and hit like 10 balls between lunch each day. And I shot a 74 from the tips on a really difficult golf course. I went from playing the white tees, shooting 95 at that course, to shooting a 74 from the tips. And that was a look on my face, like, how you can't even comprehend the amount of improvement. You don't even know what just happened. Like 2 weeks before that, I was in the dumps. And here we are playing the best golf ever. Right. And so I wanted to just take a mission from that moment forward and just share that with the rest of the world and say, can we do this as a community of golfers?
And for your player ability test, like what do you have to shoot in order to pass that, so you can become
right.
a
so
PGA member?
It's the slope rating of the course divided by 2, but it usually factors out to be like 279s, and you play 36 holes in one day, and you got to shoot. You're playing for your career. They make it easy for you. They put all the holes in the middle of the green or the fattest part of the green, But like I said, there's that mental element of playing for your career that gets your nerves up.
Sure. Yeah, I'm sure. So it's basically it's kind of based on how hard
Right, right. It's
the
based on
course
how hard
is.
the course is. And I remember that day I was taking the PAT. I had been doing this new swing for about a year. And I just, on that range, I was so nervous. I was like taking little, I swear I was taking animal pelts behind the ball. It felt like a foot behind the ball. And I was so nervous. But then I remembered what I learned through this swing was, you know, if I can just keep my weight on the left side and I can just swing my arms, not really think too much about the swing, not get too technical, I can hit ball first every time. So I went out there and I turned what was like a terrible range session before the round. Went on that first tee, just kept the weight forward, swung the arms, hit ball first almost every single time past my PAT.
Yeah, so you didn't even have
No,
your best stuff on that day, and you were able to pass it in a new swing that was
yeah, it was
pretty
almost like
new
we're
to you.
going into France to like live there, and I hadn't even spoke French in about a week. You know, it's like one of those things. You're learning a new language, and then you're going right into a foreign country. You have no experience there. Well, that's what it felt like. And on that first tee, I told my playing partners, you guys are going to witness a miracle today, because that range session, my buddy was right behind me, seeing me lay side, and then I went on the tee and I started keeping the weight forward. And it all worked out beautifully.
Yeah. David just asked, what did he shoot to pass his PAT? What it was like 74, 75 or something like that?
PAT, I shot 279s right on the dot, and it was because of my putting, actually, that it got that close. I didn't want it to ever get that close, but I played like 74 golf with my long game. My putting, they used to call me 3-putt Tom. So it's not that bad anymore. It's just back in the day in college, it was an event.
Right. I think, you know what, the great thing about that story and why I wanted you to share that is because I think it provides people with some hope if they are struggling with their golf game, that you can turn it around, and it doesn't have to take a year for this to happen.
Absolutely right. I'm one of those people that would, like I said, work ethic wise, go to the range, beat balls. And I know so many people like that. We go to the range because we have the swing and it feels great that one day, and then we're worried it's not going to come back the next day, so we hit more balls. And then we come back the next day, we wonder, is it going to be back? Is our swing going to be there? It's going to show up? Maybe. Well, with this swing, I take 3 weeks off at a time. In fact, that one video that blew up, the one where I got in front of the camera and I was saying, what's going on here? Like, what are we doing as a society of golfers? We need to get this figured out. This is so much easier. Why make it so hard?
Right.
I just got off a cruise ship. Boom, cured the shot. It was actually my first full swing since getting off the cruise.
Right. Yeah. Hey guys, we'll get to questions here in a minute. We have a whole section just mapped out for the Q&As. Thanks for sharing that, Tom. I think that's awesome. We're going to go ahead and we're going to be playing some video clips right now. All right. So these were 3 things that Tom really feels that could really kind of completely change your ball striking, which is weight forward, hands in, and shoulder down. And we're going to play a couple clips. They're not very long clips. So you guys can, and then we'll have Tom kind of talk us through that. So give me a second.
Just so you know, the class is centered, the free class that you're getting is centered around these 3 things. And we're going to talk about them. So it's really important.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you guys haven't gotten the free class, don't worry about it. Because I will be sending that out later on tonight after we get done here. All right, so let's go ahead and get this weight forward.
Are you tired of hitting the ball like a crazy schlub? Are you tired of hitting the ball like a crazy schlub? Yeah. Do your golf shots
give me a second here. I'm going to fast forward this.
Get over it.
Oh, a little too far.
Every time and have repeatable, good contact every single time. What does this hula hoop tell us?
Hold on, guys.
Well, it tells us this bottom part of the hula hoop is the low point of the swing. That's where the club is going to make contact with the ground. It's the most important thing.
There we go. All right.
You gotta get over it. Get over it, hit it. The purest strikes of your life. Now, the tip I received wasn't quite literally, get over it, Tom. But it's related to that. It's called weight forward. The importance of getting your weight forward in the setup and keeping that weight forward throughout the golf swing. It is so transformative, you don't want to miss this lesson. This hula hoop is a representation of the golf swing. The golf swing is a circle, plain and simple. It's not a giant oval where we swing back and swing through this way. It's just a circle. Go back to geometry class, get your compasses out, and we're going to draw perfect circles. If you can draw a perfect circle with your golf swing, you'll hit the ball same spot every time and have repeatable, good contact every single time. What does this hula hoop tell us? Well, it tells us this bottom part of the hula hoop is the low point of the swing. That's where the club is going to make contact with the ground. It's the most important thing you want to control when it comes to contact, because if that bottom right there moves throughout the swing, you can see it's kind of like trying to time it up. It's almost impossible to make consistent good contact. You're always going to be guessing. You want to have consistent contact today? You've got to keep the low point of the swing in the same spot the whole time. How do we do that? Step one, place the weight on the front leg, the lead leg, the weight forward. It's going to help us maintain that same point of contact. Why is that? Well, if I'm a shifter, I load one side and then I load the other side, my hula hoop moves to the right and to the left. Good luck timing it, folks. If you want to play the timing game, you shouldn't be here on this channel. This channel is only for people that want to hit it consistently in the same spot every time. Go somewhere else where they teach you to shift and lift. We got this hula hoop right here. When I place my weight forward and throughout my golf swing, keep the weight there on the front side, my hula hoop doesn't shift to the right or to the left. It stays constant. Now, assuming I'm going to turn my shoulders in a circle around my body, the hula hoop's going to stay in the same place throughout the swing. That's point number one. You want the same point of contact? Let's get the weight forward. Here we go. Forward. Here we go. You're not used to getting the weight forward because...
Okay. So your first point, Tom, as far as weight forward, talk us through like why that is just so crucial.
Sure. So you saw the
swing.
hula hoop, and I think that's the best analogy I could ever give you for how the golf swing works. It's just a circle. If we draw a perfect circle like in geometry class on a piece of paper, the bottom of that circle, as I just mentioned in the video, is your contact point. Now, why is this a big deal? Well, the number one fundamental in golf is to have a consistent point of contact every single time. And you watch the pros on TV. Ball, dirt, ball, and dirt, ball, and dirt. And it's like a bunch of robots. The number one problem I hear from amateur golfers on the lesson tee, they always want more consistency. So, number one reason they don't have consistency is their weight's going all over the place. The contact point for them is always moving. In fact, when you watch golf swings, you can put an imaginary circle around somebody's swing. And if they shift around, you'll actually see this imaginary circle move around. So you'll say, no wonder they're inconsistent. They're shifting all over the place. It's like spinning a roulette wheel and saying, what are we going to get next? Fat, thin, clean? I don't know. So the weight forward anchors the contact point. And not only that, it's so important because the rest of your swing ends up working. The other two components, the hands in and the shoulder down, work because the weight is forward. And you'll find that out in your own swing as you try out some of these moves on the range or when you go practice.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's funny. When I was like looking to change my swing and whatnot, and I saw all these like different little videos and stuff. And some people may be familiar with athletic motion golf, but they kind of measure like those two guys. I think Sean Webb and I think the other guy's Mike something. They like measure everything. And it was funny when they were looking at pros and like during their takeaway, and every pro is a little bit different, right? But one of their videos kind of stood out to me because they said As soon as, that's right, Rick, they use gears. As soon as they start going back, they're saying they're already a bunch of pros are already shifting. They basically were trying to tell people, like, when they were teaching people, like, when does the transition happen? And they were basically saying it pretty much happens as soon as you start taking away the club, because there's a lot of pros who are already going forward. So I found that real.
One thing
real
you can look at there is just watch the players on TV, and you'll see look at their kneecaps. These are the kneecaps right here. And as they take the club back, the kneecaps start working like this. And so for you to have your kneecap down, you've got to have weight on that leg. There's no way. I've tried to put my body in contorted positions to see, could I have my knee down while having a bunch of weight on the right side? I could, but it doesn't really work like the pros do. So you get really contorted and awkward doing it any other way. But as you take that club back, the weight works like this. And then you see them push off of that weight on the downswing. That's how you see like Rory McIlroy and everybody's doing it now. They push off the ground and they almost jump up in the air, creating all that speed.
Yeah. And real quick, I know there might be a couple folks who might not hear, or some of the videos a little slow. I just want you guys to know that I'm going to be sending everything out, and there's going to be a replay of this. It's just, we're maxed out as far as the people in here. So there might be a couple folks with a little bit of issues. Okay, so let's go ahead. We're going to go to the next video here.
Hey there, Saguto golfers. Tom Saguto here. Hey there, Saguto golfers. Tom Saguto here, PGA member, founder of Saguto Golf. And in this week's episode, we are uncovering 2 swing keys that changed my golfing life forever, and I think they'll change your golfing life forever too. And for the better, your ball striking will go through the roof, more distance, better consistency with these 2 keys. And these 2 keys came from my first stack and tilt lesson. So you're
Hold on one second, guys. I got to get the time in on there.
You're learning exactly what I learned that first lesson. You're learning exactly what I learned that first lesson, and it changed me forever. It took me from shooting 95 to 75 in a span. Much everybody on tour takes their hands in, they won't tell you. Here we are with the drill setup. You know why we need to take the hands in. It's so much more power potential. There's no need to drop the club in the slot anymore, which means less reliance on the hands for timing, a lot of less hand-eye coordination. It's more a body-centric swing. It's more body-friendly because it gets the body turning. How many more benefits do I need to list here? Here's what we need to do. Get a setup just like this. Target line, club head line, hand path line. You can use clubs, doesn't matter. Sticks, clubs, it all works. We're going to focus on training this motion. Here we go. So I'm going to do things in 3s. I like to practice in 3s because it helps you ingrain the motion much quicker. And if you recall, I'm a big proponent of exaggerating the feel. Here's what we need to do. If you trace these lines, you'll take the club in enough. There we go, hands in, hands behind my right shoulder. That's the benchmark I want to get to. Wow.
Wow. So the hands in. So talk to us a little bit about the hands in, Tom. Tom, we lost you on audio.
Power sources for your golf swing, because the golf swing's a circle, and I'm going to do it with my T-Rex arms here, but if you imagine a tilted circle here, when I take the club back on this tilted angle, I've got to naturally go around my body. So if you tilt a circle over, you got to go around your body. A lot of people are taught to go straight back and up. But when I go around my body, taking the club in, you can get more hip turn, and not only that, you get more power potential because you're not getting in the business of lifting and then chopping, or lifting, dropping, and then hitting. It's a lot of work. There's that magical position people talk about in the downswing, getting in the slot, like, dropping it in the slot. And the hands in just puts your hands right in the slot in the backswing, so you don't have to think about it on the downswing. You're right there, and then the downswing's already good to go. It's very powerful. In fact, most of your backswing, it's just like a 1-2 punch. Take it in, and then just send it.
Right. Yeah, you know, for me, when I started trying some of the things that you've been teaching, one of the things that I struggle with is that I had too long of a swing. So I would film my swing, and even when I felt like I was only going to like 9 o'clock, my club was getting way too far. And I felt like if I was at 9 o'clock, I had like no time to generate power. Basically, what like the hands in gives you enough depth, right? Like you say in one of your videos, like, hey, you could be Bubba Watson, right, who's freakish, or if you take it, you can still get a lot of width in your swing and depth, and you'll have more control, basically.
Plus, how many of us could be Bubba Watson flexibility wise, or my back would be shot after 3 or 4 swings doing a swing like that. And I used to swing like that. I had back pain. But when I started doing the hands in, it was half the effort, double the power, because I'm not trying to coordinate all these dropping and you know, swinging into the ball mechanisms. I'm just here and here. And yeah, if I bring the club up here, I've got a ton of width, but what are you going to do with this? You got to drop it, then you got to hit it. Well, I get the same amount as that, just going here. And it's much easier to control. A ton of players are doing that on TV. I look at Tony Finau, Charlie Hoffman are great examples, really effortless looking, shorter swings. John Rahm, they're really short swings, but they hit the ball so far.
Yeah, they do. And you said, I think you mentioned in that video, like some people really might have to exaggerate this move in order for them to really kind of get it right.
Being a former, all lifters in the room, raise your hand. Former lifter here, you know. Hello, my name's Tom, and I'm a liftaholic. Former lifter.
Yeah, we got a few people, people over here. Rick, Mike, and Brian are all saying they had lift.
Is there a lot of current lifters?
Denny, Mike, Jim, Anthony. Rick's getting lower. Brian says no way. John's
okay, good. Yeah, that's a good response. Good. Well, it's no surprise about 95% of the golfing population lifts, and it's unfortunate because it's so much effort.
Yeah, Brian says he's a reformed lifter. Ed was never a lifter but a swear. Yeah, and I'll tell you, as far as the exaggeration goes, I took a lesson here in Tampa. That's where I live. That's where Up Glove's at, is in Tampa. I remember when I went to get a lesson, he actually wanted me to lift. So, you know, it was one of those traditional things. But it was funny. He kept telling me to lift, and I thought I was lifting. And he's like, Sean, he's like, you got to know something about golf. He's like, I'm asking for a foot, but I'm hoping for like an inch or two.
It could be true. Words have not been spoken in golf. Like those are, yeah. If you're a lifter in this room, which most of you are based on the comments, you are going to feel like, and I'm going to stand up here for a second, you're going to feel like this. You will feel like this. I mean, if you're here, we're going here. We want to get here. You got to feel here. It's just how your body learns. Because if it feels normal, you haven't made a change. If you feel like, oh, I love it when people say, oh, this feels really good. This feels really good. I say you haven't made a change. Because we on the lesson team will say, man, I love this new backswing you just taught me, Tom. You haven't made a change. You got to go lower.
Yeah. Right. Isabella, that's awesome. So Isabella was just talking about how she's increased her driver distance by 40 yards, much easier swing. She was taught in Taiwan, and 10 shots better since she's moved here in the last year. That's awesome. Tim and Brian, you guys are Bucks fans. They're kind of like my second favorite team, but I'm like a huge Browns
Here's a visual
fan.
I want y'all to have, just quickly on hands in. Imagine high-fiving yourself. This is the ball. High five. That was probably really loud. But the idea is when you lift and then you chop, this is what you're doing to the golf ball. If you want to hit it powerful, go around. Boom. It's so much simpler that way instead of having to do the awkward high five.
That's awesome. Yeah, a lot of people, Randy was just saying that he's starting to draw his driver. Hey, Michael, I got it. I got it. Rick says it feels low, but still
use a mirror. You got to always look in the mirror and match your feel with what's real. So if you're feeling like, if you look in the mirror and you see you're still high, even though it feels like this, you've got to keep going lower till you get there. I mean, especially when you're doing self-guided like this, you don't have anybody really teaching you except over the internet. You've got to go lower and lower until you get it where it should be. And it should be on the shoulder line. I mean, I tilt my shoulder down.
Right. Hey guys, yeah, we stopped the video. The video hasn't been playing. So the video clips are only like a minute or two, and then we're talking about it. All right. And we're going to get to all the questions you guys have about slicing, Danny, and all that good stuff. All right, so we got one more short clip here. Yeah, how low?
Left arm on the shoulder line or slightly below. You could get away with
or slightly below
about this is fine to about there, but any lower you start to run into some issues, and any higher you run into issues.
All right, let's go ahead and get this last video going.
Hey there, golfers and golf vets, Tom. Hey there, golfers and golf vets, Tom Saguto here, PGA member and founder of Saguto Golf. And this week, I've got 2 simple keys for the best backswing and downswing of your life. So, let's get started. Who doesn't want this? Here's the recipe for success. We are going to learn the backswing. 1, you need to tilt for a good solid backswing, and then on the downswing you need to extend for insane power. And everybody on TV is doing this. All the best players do this. And if you focus on these 2 keys, this will really get you rocking and rolling. The backswing. Here's something we need to do in the backswing. Makes our backswing really solid. We turn our shoulders 90 degrees to our spine. But a lot of people, instead of doing that, they lose their relationship to the ball by turning their shoulders level like this. So they have this type of situation going on, which isn't good for your back. And then on the downswing, usually you have that. What we need to do instead is turn our shoulders 90 degrees to our spine. You've heard me talk about this a million times. We're gonna make it really simple though. What we need to do in the backswing is tilt or turn our left shoulder down. So the tilting motion is exactly this with some turn. Now I'm exaggerating here, but you might say, well, there's no tilt in the golf swing. I don't see a bunch of people swinging like this. Well, yeah, you don't really see them doing that, but if you turn your swing at a 45-degree angle like this, and I make my backswing, I'm fully tilted to the left. I'm not standing here straight and just turning. No, the shoulder tilt, the spine tilt to the target is critical for getting your club on plane in the backswing. Because as I tilt this shoulder down, or as I tilt my spine to the left as I'm going through the backswing, it's setting the club on the proper plane. The tilting provides the upward movement of the club, so there's no need to lift. You're essentially just turning your chest and the shoulders going down by tilting. So, you see that takeaway right there? Turn your chest away from the target, shoulders going down. There's your takeaway. Body's turned. I'm not thinking about anything else. So you take this relationship here, you turn your chest to the right or to the camera here. My left shoulder's down, my lead shoulder, okay? That's what you should do. You're focusing on spine tilt. Spine tilts to the left, we have to turn. There's the backswing. So when you go through the backswing, you might notice, I'm just gonna hit one. I'm gonna tilt. There we go, perfect backswing. And how do you know it's perfect? Your left arm, your lead arm should be on your shoulder line, not low, not above, no lifting. And also your head's gonna be in place, because as you tilt, you keep your head in place, your spine's going to extend. So here we go with backswing. Boom. Head's in place. I've turned. Great top of backswing position. That was all due to me just tilting and turning my spine like this. The club reacted. There we go. So you hit a shot. Make sure I keep everything in place. Nice.
All right, we stopped the video, guys. All right, so shoulder down,
yeah.
Tom.
No, it's huge.
And I think a lot of people don't realize about the left side bend or side tilt that actually happens in your backswing.
You're tilting fully toward the target, which is the amount of down that you need. The nice thing about this, there's no lifting required in this swing, because if you tilt enough, if you had a club, and I mean, many of you are probably in your living room or somewhere in your office right now with the computer, you tilt enough, the club goes up. So it gives you the upward movement of the club, but just by tilting. And would you believe that our shirts have a built-in tilting device meter right here? If you got a polo shirt right now, we didn't know this till the 21st century. This little spot right here is designed for your shoulders to get to. And it's just below that bottom button. Your shoulder goes down to this area, and then it turns over. Now, all of you got to turn. We've all been taught to turn. I've seen more turn. I see an upturn. You get that shoulder into your chin, turn, turn, turn. You never see the tilt. So if you can get this shoulder down to replace this spot, that gets enough down and around, then you are good to go. In fact, you have some space between your shoulder and your chin at the top instead of it hitting you. A lot of people are told, right, get that shoulder on your chin, or like get it just under your chin, hit your chin. Like that gets you, I mean, the shoulder down is to have a relationship with the ball. So when I turn my shoulders down, I've got a relationship maintained. Hello, ball, how are you? You want to have a good time. Right. You want to tell the golf ball what to do. You want the ball to do what you want it to do. You got to turn the shoulder down.
Yeah, and I was watching another video, and I forget who it was, but it was another person who was measuring stuff, right? And this was it was a pros versus AMs video. I can't remember if it was Athletic Motion Golf again or someone else. I don't remember who put it out. But they said one of the biggest differences between a pro golfer and an amateur golfer was that side tilt. They were basically saying, like, I think on average, and I don't know what club they had, but pros were really close to 40%. Like most of them were between like 38 and like 42%, wow, somewhere in between there. And they said most amateurs were at like 30 or 31%, which is like, that's a huge difference. You know what I mean? Like that's like a 30% difference as far as how much someone's actually tilting versus not tilting. So I think, when I started watching all this stuff, we'll go ahead and move forward here because I want to leave some time for Q&As. When I started watching all this stuff and learning, I don't even know if I came to your video yet, some of your videos, but I started watching all this stuff. I saw another one with me and my golf. And Pierce was changing his swing and stuff like that. And someone in the comments was like, hey, it looks like what you're trying to do is more stack and tilt. So I thought all that stuff was interesting. And then I came across your videos and my own swing issues, everyone is, so I was I did the top speed golf, Clay Ballard. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard of Clay Ballard. I went through his program, and this isn't a knock on Clay or anything. I think Clay's great. I think his teaching and stuff that he does is great. It just, for me, my back was killing me. And, like I said earlier about my swing was just too long and I just wasn't getting enough depth or whatever. But I had to change because my back was just hurting me. So I saw all these other videos of people kind of talking and just kind of pieced it all together that like this is like stack and tilt. And then Tom, when you were going over your stuff, you just really resonated with me. And I was able to go out immediately on my first range session and was able to strike balls great. And my driver dispersion, which is the worst club in my bag, is my driver. My irons are pretty good. But my driver dispersion is, I'm playing Army golf, left, right, Oscar Bravo, out of bounds. My driver dispersion immediately totally narrowed, and then I didn't lose any distance or anything like that. I bet if you took all my shots, I might have averaged even a little bit more, just because my miss hits were so few and far between. And that's why I say results, because you can't argue, with the results. And everyone on here has been commenting about some of the results that they've seen with some of your coaching and things like that. So I think that's great. I think those three things can really help a lot of golfers.
And just before we go into the Q&A, those three things are all related. Like, if the weight is forward, you can turn your shoulder down more. If the weight is forward, you can bring the club in more. Things won't happen unless you have these three pieces. They're all integral to your swing. And once you get them, you got them.
All right. So let's go ahead and get to some of these questions, guys. You might have to ask it twice because everyone is still in here. We're still maxed out. So, which is crazy. But I'm going to try to get to all these questions. So Bob asked, Tom, I know feels need to be exaggerated, but my question is, in the backswing, does your upper body ever lean outside or over your hip?
If you draw a circle around your shoulders, that's a great question, by the way, because that's really important with how we turn the shoulders. If you draw a circle around my shoulders, you're going to find that my upper body will pretty much stay as central as possible. Even though I'm tilting left, because I'm turning and tilting, my shoulders will stay in a circle, which means that because you don't want, if you find your upper body gets out in front of your lower body, you'll start hitting it thin, or you'll start introducing a different variable into the swing, because once I tilt out in front, I've moved my hula hoop forward. So we're trying to keep that swing circle in the same spot. You won't find me moving in either direction. I'll actually be pretty central.
All right, cool. Steve asked, he's been working on this for a few weeks. He's basically saying, when I shift my weight to the front leg, I feel like I'm aimed way right of the target, but when I look at my target, it's over my left shoulder. Before I shift my weight, he feels that he is on target. My brain just isn't trusting it. I seem to pull shots. Should I change my stance to be a little bit open? How can I address the alignment? Should the belt buckle and shirt button be over the ball to start?
That's a really good one, because so we're looking at alignment and how the shoulders are turning. Well, if I'm taking the club back and let's say I'm going in with it, you're probably working on getting the club more in. So a common thing I'll see people do is, as they're taking the club back, they'll shift their entire body like this. They'll kind of level out a little bit, which then I can't give you a good angle from here, but what that does is it ends up aiming your shoulders more that direction. You said to the left. Was it the left or right?
I think he feels like he's aimed to the right, but then he might be trying to overcompensate.
So in the swing, you feel like you're aimed to the right, which means, you're probably losing that shoulder down, and then when you level out, it points your shoulder more to the right. That's just one of those common issues we see there. Best way to get that feeling is to, exaggerate is important. What was the second part of that? What was the first part of that question with the feel?
Yeah, so he was saying, when he shifts his weight to the front leg, I feel like I'm aimed right, but when he looks at when I look at my target, it's over my left shoulder.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just trying to visualize it. So if we think about shifting weight to our front leg, it kind of changes a lot of how our body works. I like to think about, I think if we shift weight forward, that will get you pointing right. Now, I'm not shifting weight forward. What I'm doing is I place weight forward first in the setup. And then as I turn my shoulder down, it adds weight for me. I'm not adding more weight consciously. I think what is happening is as you're shifting that weight forward, and I've seen this among a lot of players, I can demonstrate the hips. It's kind of like the hips move. When they shift the weight forward, I'll see this in the backswing, which gets you to point more to the right, you know. So you have to be careful with shifting in the weight. Instead, just place it and then stay there, rotate around that. Does that help? Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think that's helpful. We have a lot of questions, guys. Just so you know, I'm going to try to get through as many of these cans, but there's quite a bit. On the downswing, this is from David. What initiates the downs? What initiates the downswing? Is it tilt to the right?
So the backswing, we've got a tilt toward the target. That's that shoulder down. On the downswing, we do the opposite. We tilt back the other way. If you want to know what initiates it, do a shoulder turn drill. Place the club across your chest, get into your posture. You've seen me do this on the channel. You know how this works, but turn your shoulders 90 degrees to your spine one way, and then turn them back the other way while keeping your body in that same angle. You'll feel the downswing get initiated. A couple of different triggers. You got your weight forward. A trigger that I've used in the past is move my weight more forward, so move it more toward the target. Or you can think about pushing off of your left foot because there's all that weight there. Or simply just tilting back the other way. All three will accomplish that.
Another David here. How far should I be swinging my arms back? Should I try to keep them
so the
straight?
lead arm is the most important of the straight arms in the backswing. The lead arm is like the radius of your circle. We need to preserve that. The trail arm is going to fold. So when we take the arm back, it's going to go 45 degrees across the chest. So all you got to do is take your lead arm, bring it across the chest. You see how it's nice and connected here? It's connected against my side. There we go. Okay. The right arm is going to fold when I do that, and that puts me in the proper spot. So think about how far should it go. Just think about gluing it to your chest and bringing it 45 degrees in. That'll give you a good idea. It's going to be a shorter backswing, especially if you've been over swinging.
Rick, I hope that answers your questions. Rick was saying, I know you want both arms connected to the chest or the side of the chest, but is one arm more important than the other? It sounds
both
like you're
are really
the left
important.
arm
You've got to glue the right arm to your side, because if this arm does the cha-ching in the golf swing, it's no good. We need to peg this arm, because if really the backswing is this simple, I can't believe it's this simple. All you do is if you bend forward and you connect this connection here, and this one stays, it's not going anywhere, you bring your arm 45 across the chest. This arm's glued, so it's just going to fold for you. And look at my shoulders down. I didn't even think about the shoulders. That's probably the best, and that's going to be a future video, right. So you all heard it here first.
Right. So Bill was saying he loves the online lessons, but he would like a written backup. Do you think that the Tack and Stilt Swing, the definitive guide to the swing that is remaking golf by Andy Plummer and Mike Bennett, would be a good written swing? There you go.
No, so
he's got it right there, Bill.
You get the book. I recommend everybody get this book, but you've got to be careful, because something that, especially if you're one of those, I want to go from next tip to next tip to next tip, you got to make sure that you're working on the right things, because this book in untrained hands could be very, disastrous for your game. You got to know what you're doing, and that's why I think supplementing it with the teaching in, like, my golf school, for example, is a great way to go through the book, so you can match up with the content with what I'm doing in the visual. But I love the book. It shows you a ton of pictures of the greats and all the moves that they do, the best players doing these moves. It just is really a great resource for understanding the swing.
Mark is asking, how would you hit a
draw or fade? Okay. I wish I had a foot cam, but what we got to do is understand path, what the club path is and what the club face is. So this is the biggest thing right here, club face, start direction of the golf ball. First thing, if we want the ball to do what it does on TV, where it's got that beautiful push to the right and it comes back to the target, the ball's got to start to the right, so we set the club face open. Now, typically that's all you're going to have to do because the weight forward allows for you to swing more in to out, because that in to out gives you the draw spin. And so the weight forward with an open face will give you that start right, curve back. The fade is the opposite. We've got to start it left to curve right. It's my weakest shot. I'll never hit a fade the rest of my life, probably. I'm working on it. But if you wanted to, you got to point the face left at address, and you put your weight back on your right foot, which encourages an out to in swing path, so it curves back the other way. I'm getting into a series on that in the school because it's more easy to see with all the lines and the visuals on the ground. But that's what they say in this book. That's how they teach people how to draw on a fade: is weight back for a fade, weight forward for a draw.
Gotcha. All right. So Scott is asking, he was over the top. First thing I did to fix things and come more from the inside was start using a bowed left wrist. This helped me a lot, or helped me so much to come more from the inside. I guess he's asking, do you still see using a bowed left wrist with these principles that you're teaching now?
The wrist moving side to side in the golf swing is something I'm not a fan of, and that's just because the second I move my wrist from one side or the other side in the swing, I change my contact point. So I don't think it's necessary, but if it's working for you, stick with it. Just the way we do this swing and making those three motions we talked about earlier, weight forward, hands in, shoulder down, there's no need for you to bow the wrist to come from the inside because you already put the club in from the inside. And if you just focused on, if you saw the episode yesterday, I got this drill where you got to swing under a stick. If you're over the top, just swing under a stick, placed right about here, swing under it. You'll never come over the top again, and you won't have to think about that wrist. In fact, I recommend that you just take the hands back quiet, no wrist going either way. The only thing the wrist will do is go up and down in the golf swing.
Gotcha. Tom, if you had to choose, this is from Rich, if you had to choose one drill to focus on when trying to implement your new swing,
this is a great question too, because if you're digesting all of this on YouTube at one time, it's tempting to say, man, this is great, let me move on to the next part. This is great, let me move on to the next part. You want to binge watch it and try and get everything at once. Well, we got to start with the most important part that you're lacking. Let's say you're turning your shoulders too level. Well, we need to start with the shoulder down. So we need to feel that tilt. And I would work on that for a couple of weeks. I wouldn't even try going on the next thing until I've got it down. I want to make the golf swing's a puzzle. So you're building pieces here, 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 and here. Once you get the pieces together, then you'll see it. So don't think too much about results either at this time. You're going to see some great shots. You also see some really wacky shots, but you got to accept that you're making a huge change compared to the older traditional swing methods. So you're not used to it.
Merrill asked, is distance adversely affected versus a more conventional swing?
I think you'll find that you can create distance in both swings, the conventional and this swing. There's many ways to create distance, a million ways to swing a club. It's more of a matter of how effortless do you want that distance to be. This swing is the most repeatable and effortless one that I've seen out there. And by effortless, I mean it actually feels like you're doing nothing. And it's because of that hands in concept, the hands in, turning the hips freely around your body. So yeah, you can create distance both ways. This one actually has more power potential because it's limitless. You saw, if you watch the driver video, you saw me start at 260 carry and end up at 300 carry just by adding more weight forward throughout the process. And I wasn't adding any more effort till the end when I was trying to kill it.
James said, talk about the transition. I guess maybe one tip that we might be able to focus on for transition
from the backswing to the downswing. So something that would help all of you steep golfers in the world, which is almost all of you. I'm sorry if I put you all in a box, but it's so true. I've taught so many lessons that everybody's going this way with the club. Well, think about the right arm. When you get to the top, your right arm's here. When you go over the top, where's your right arm go? Over the top. So try making a swing with one hand and you got the weighted club, go under. That's what at the transition, if you're struggling with this, go the opposite, and you got to feel opposite. Other than that, if we're looking at lower body, imagine that you want to get your hips 3 inches or so forward first, and then they'll turn. You don't have to think about the turn, but move them forward first, and then they turn. So that's 2 ways to think about the transition. I know some people like to use body, some people like to use arms. That should give you 2 different ways to implement that.
Mike was asking about what net you use, and Mike, I might be able to answer this for you because I asked him the same thing, and I think he said he had like an old baseball net or something that he had from like years ago. That was just like
that's
in the
right, from the good old
garage
baseball days.
right?
I think we bought the net. I can't remember. My dad we set it up in the woods before, and used to hit baseballs into it. Yeah, some industrial hitting net, sports net.
Mike, I will tell you this. I saw a video the other day that one of the best nets that you can get, it has nothing to do with golf or baseball, is an archery net. I heard an because it's a little bit heavier, so it really dampens the impact. I heard archery.
That's gonna make a cool
really
sound. Oh, did I lose you? Looks like I lost you. Check. I think I lost. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, something happened where I freeze for a second. Did you get the question?
Okay. Yeah. Why do you think people are hesitant about this?
Yeah, I think they're hesitant, and I was in the same boat because the media was promoting so much against it. It was something very different from what had been taught for the past 50 years. And it's really no different than what the best players of all time were using. Like you look at a Ben Hogan and you see almost all of the elements, if not all of them, right in there in his swing. I think people were hesitant because once the swing came on the scene, they never taught hands in or shoulder down. The biggest teachers never taught hands in, shoulder down. Then they always taught a weight shift. And so I guess a lot of instructors got intimidated by it, or the media said this is just wacky, it's against everything, and there was this giant movement against it. And I was one of those people that was against it until I had no other choice to accept it. And the thing about it is it just works. It's a simpler way to swing the club. I don't know why people get against swings, because if it's helping people play their best golf, there should be nobody against it, because golf is struggling right now. It needs to be more fun.
Right. Let's see here. Ed was asking that he's been working on a swing initiator. Try to get the club going in, shoulder down, but I think I've had the best success with the right hip going in to initiate the swing.
Yeah,
any tips on that?
So if you're somebody who doesn't turn their hips well, which I'm guessing you might not have much of a hip turn before doing the swing, you might need to feel that. And the initiator of the swing will vary from person to person. That's why I think right now my favorite one is the left arm across the chest with this connection, because it pulls everything around. But, you might need to initiate with the hip. It all depends what that looks like. You might feel your swing start in your pinky toe and it works like a charm. I might feel it start in my right eyeball. So I know it's such a tough answer because I want to answer what is the definite start of the golf swing. And right now I would say left arm connection, 45 degrees across the chest, pulling the shoulder down. But it's a tough one. It's really a tough one to answer.
So Greg was asking, how do I think about starting the downswing? I think we talked a little bit about that. I think the right arm and getting a few inches lateral seem to be some of the things that you mentioned here.
The Saguto book actually says the whole downswing will happen if you just push off of that weight you've got forward on your left leg or your front leg. Then everything reacts. It's tempting in the golf swing to take control, meaning when we get in the downswing, we want to hit the ball. Best tip you can ever get on the golf swing is you got to give up control to get control. So instead of trying to take control of a lot of things, let gravity do the rest. Let gravity do the work for you. Pull the arm across the chest, and then from there, let it fall. I mean, don't try and control it. Just let the weight take care of it. That's a great way of initiating it. There's so many different ways. It all depends on your swing.
William asked, "Will you do a pitch and chip video?" I know you have a short game course as well, but it looks like he's asking about if you have anything coming up there.
Nothing as of right now. I've got a ton of awesome things on my board right here, the golf video board. I've been toying around with the idea of doing a pitch and chip, some specialty type things, but mostly keeping a lot of those on the online golf school because I want to explain them in more detail. Just because they're systems to play, and I think if I don't include the whole system, then it could mislead some people. So like the full swing, you guys
Gotcha.
see shoulder down, you see the hands, and you see everything with YouTube with the full swing, and so I'm not misleading in the sense that you're getting all the pieces.
David said he's developed a reverse C. What am I doing wrong?
So reverse C is that position that looks like this, right? Your weight's forward and your back is extended. Well, I would say you're not doing anything wrong.
I figured I was thinking you're
when you start doing this swing, you're going to find yourself finishing. The reverse C has gotten a bad rap, and everybody says lower back pain. It's actually your body's reaction. It's extending. Your spine's extending out of the shot. You watch a lot of players at the end of their swing, you see a curve in their spine. That's the extension of their spine. If they didn't do it, they'd end up like this. You got to extend with the arm straight, not extend. We see a lot of this, but this is actually taking stress off the back. You're doing everything just right.
Denny said he bought the short game course, and he said it's great for anyone who's interested in that. Jerry, that's awesome. Jerry at 77 years old gained 10 to 12 yards with his swing.
It's never too late. It's never too late to start picking up this swing. There's never, I've got too many old habits, and I've heard that excuse, like my swing's been stuck in the attic for years and it's never going to be changed. Well, no, you can change it in one simple range session.
Yeah. Buzz asked, do you preset your left hip a little at address and load your left leg and not your right leg?
At address, I see it as a full body tilt just a little to the target. So this is me at 50-50. Everything goes just a little bit forward. So I'm not moving the hip. Don't preset the hip to move the weight forward. It's a full body. Because if you preset the hip, now I've tilted my body too much. My spine's tilted away from the target now. So I want to be over the ball the whole way. So that's a great way to preset it, is make sure everything leans a little forward.
All right, let's see here. Tom asked, how many swing thoughts should you bring to the course?
Real easy to remember. 1 swing thought, 2 is too many. You couldn't possibly try and coordinate all these swing thoughts and try and hit a little white ball at a millisecond at a time. It's just impossible. If you go out with 1 swing thought, you will have a lot more fun and a lot less stress.
David asked, some of the old pros lifted their left heel. How did they keep their weight on their left foot?
To this day, I've tried to get into that position. I can't physically do it, but you look at their kneecaps, because I tried to get in this position. It's really difficult. They got the weight, they got their kneecap like this while keeping their toe up. And I'm thinking, and while their hips are also tilting at this angle too. I mean, this angle right here. So,
right.
Short answer, I'm not sure how they got in that position, but I'm trying to envision how they do it, and I don't know. Maybe it was a move they had at that time in history. I've tried to get in that position. I could never do it. It's odd.
Yeah, I think I played around with it. You definitely can, but it's just not comfortable, but it could have just been the way people were swinging the club, and it was just
Yeah,
more,
for
they
Sam
were more
Snead to
accustomed
look
to
so
it.
effortless doing that, I'm just wondering how he looks so comfortable lifting that leg off the ground. But I've tried it, and it doesn't work for my knees. But what you're seeing all the same thing. You're seeing the weight go with this. For the knees to work like this, the weight's got to be somewhat forward. For the right hip to be higher than the left hip at the top, you can't have your weight back. I mean, there's some things that happen, and you've got to have your weight forward for them to happen.
Rich was asking, is it okay to golf when learning this swing? I mean, I would think absolutely, Rich. I would probably encourage you to do that.
Yeah, to give you an idea, I played golf right after I took that first lesson just because I wanted to go out and play. And when you go out and play, don't expect that you're going to shoot even par. Don't even expect that it's going to be the best round of your life. Just go out and say, I'm working on something here. Just keep that one swing thought or whatever you're working on the range, whatever it is. Keep trying to work through it because it's eventually going to become part of your swing. Where people run into issues is when they try and change their swing on the course because this is not working now. I've got to do something else. My game is in shambles. No, it's not. You're just making a change. You got to be patient with yourself.
Brian says he has a low shot. It's a low runner and he has no air time.
Yeah, I would assume that means that they're thin shots. They're not with the divot in front. Can we confirm?
I don't know.
So it's a low thin
yes,
shot.
He said yes.
Okay. So there's no divot. Well, that would tell me that you're probably shifting off the golf ball. Remember our hula hoop. If you want to have that same point of contact, you got to keep the weight forward throughout the swing. So your weight's probably not staying forward. You might feel like it is. Feel like you got more weight forward and not shifting off the ball. Turning the shoulder down will help you hit the ball higher because it helps you compress it more. You have that relationship with the ball. So weight forward, shoulder down. I know it's the same things, but really, it's that important.
And then should your ball position change? He said, thank you. Should your ball position change since your weight is moved forward? Scott was asking. Since your weight is more forward, should the ball position be more forward?
So the ball position is going to remain constant with this setup, with that weight being 55% on your front leg or 60%. We're setting up to hit the ground just forward of center, which is just a little bit left of the shirt buttons between your logo and shirt area if you were looking down from your stance, or if you got your stance to club head width inside of your left heel. Assuming your feet are outward, it's a club head width inside your left heel. The reason for that is when you set the weight forward and we're keeping that weight in the same spot because we're swinging in a circle, we have one point of contact. So that ball position is going to be right there every time. To have that one point of contact, hit the ball in the same spot every time. It's a consistency thing.
Terry mentioned tempo. He said, it looks like you're going full speed on your downswing. I guess just in general.
Hit it
anything
with the
that you'd say on tempo.
Do it nicely. So tempo, yeah. Tempo is, if you're a musician, you get onto it pretty quickly, but I don't like to think of tempo as a number. I never really understood tempo being like a seconds thing. It's more of an internal rhythm for you. It just makes sure that your tempo is not and is constant. Your tempo's got to be constant. So as I go back and through, it's the same flow. Now this is where it gets confusing. Tempo versus speed. So I can look effortless with my tempo and have a heck of a lot of speed. It's where people think that tempo is speed and they go robotic. Well, no, take it back and then aggressively accelerate on the downswing, but you're still going to feel the same tempo. It might make sense when you're making those swings with a weighted club. You feel how it naturally accelerates while you got the same tempo. It's the same idea. If that makes sense. It's kind of like you got to be careful with tempo and swing speed because one and the other don't work. Oh, it looks like I got lost again. Can you hear me? Hello? Check 1, 2, check. Hello? Check 1, 2. I'm sorry if I'm freezing here. Oh, so for some reason the video is. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I can't see Sean's face moving. Hang on just a second while we get this resolved. I wish I could see your comments, but because I can't quite see them. But oh, I think he's coming back. Thank you again for being in here tonight. It means a lot. Like I said, I can't see the comments, but I've been reading a lot of the YouTube comments and trying to respond as much as I can, and really loving the improvements I'm hearing, the stories I'm hearing. I couldn't be happier for you all. Trying to play our best golf ever. Oh, you can see and hear me. Okay. Oh, are we back?
Am I
okay,
back?
I can see you. I just can't hear you.
Okay, hold.
Interesting.
All right, can you hear me?
I can only see you moving.
Okay, I got most people say they can hear me. All right, hold on one sec. Tom's the only one who seems who can't hear me. Hold on one second.
I wonder if I haven't.
Tom, can you hear me yet or no?
All right.
Tom, can you hear me now?
I can't hear you yet. Interesting.
All right. I think a lot of people can hear me.
I'm not getting a signal through the speakers.
Tom, can you hear me now?
Not yet.
No. They can hear. Here, I'll type this. Yeah, I think, Tom, can you hear?
I just tested it. I can try using my speakers, but I'm not getting a signal.
Yeah, go ahead and try with your speakers.
Speakers work now.
Okay.
Yeah. Is there an echo though? Okay.
No, I think we're all right.
All right. We'll go headphone-less here.
Okay,
Thank you for your patience.
Yeah, nope, that's fine. I mean, we have this. There's a lot of people in here, so it's a lot of bandwidth taken up on the account, I'm sure. All right, we'll just take a couple more questions. We're going on almost an hour and a half, which has been great, and we've gotten so many questions. And what I will do is I'm allowed to download all this stuff. So maybe Tom and I can take these back, and it would be probably good things for you for some of your videos, Tom, maybe to consider in the future.
Oh, for sure.
Because there were over 100 questions.
Oh, really? That's awesome. So the driver video on yesterday was actually a result of all your feedback, so that's kind of how that works.
Yeah, so David asked, how do you hit driver? David, I don't know if you had a chance to see his driving video that just came out a couple days ago, but that was really good. But Tom, maybe share like one tip that you would give to someone.
Yeah, driver is basically the same swing, almost the same setup. Tee the ball halfway above the club face. Make sure your weight's forward. Make sure you take the club around you. It's a longer club, so you just need to feel like you're doing the same things, except exaggerate them more. That's the biggest thing with the driver. is making sure you got the hands in, especially if you're a lifter. Making sure that you push off the ground in the downswing to launch it higher, things like that. And don't think about pushing off the ground, just add a little bit more weight forward in your setup. But watch that episode. That episode's got it all in there, the yesterday's episode.
Eric said, I play barehanded. Would it help to use a glove? Well, if you're asking me, a man who owns a glove company, Eric, I'll tell you 100%. Well, I will say this, Eric, like a Cabretta glove or a high quality glove, like what we sell, like if you're going to get a glove, you'd probably feel the biggest difference with that as far as grip is concerned, because Cabretta is just naturally just more tackier than like a synthetic glove. Like if you play barehanded for a long time and you think like, oh, my grip's okay, and then you get a synthetic glove, you might not see much of a difference. So if I was going to tell you to get a glove, definitely don't get a synthetic glove if you've been able to, because then you might not feel a great difference.
And I can attest using Sean's gloves for about 3 or 4 weeks now. I'm a sweaty guy. I hit balls, and it gets hot in South Carolina. That glove is holding up, and it breathes so well. That mesh side, I mean, yeah. I've never felt anything quite like that. You got it almost feels like a Titleist, like that same really high quality feel on the grip side, and then it's got the breathing on the top side.
Yeah, so I don't know if how well you guys can see this, but the back of our glove is mesh, so it breathes really well. And then obviously we use a soft top grade Cabretta leather. I was a Titleist PermaSoft guy for years. I hated paying $24 at the pro shop for a golf glove, so then I ended up starting my own golf glove business.
You can't find a fix to your problem. You solve it by making your own solution.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like this swing in a way, really.
People are asking for when's the next one? When is the sequel? Super awesome and informative. Bob was saying Vice did it. Why can't you, right? You're absolutely right. Danny is asking, is the slice with the swing result of not enough tilt? The inside swing gets me slicing more than I want.
So it all depends on what your slice definition is. We've got the slice that starts left and curves right. We've got the slice that starts right and curves more right. So you got the pull slice and the push slice, and two very different fixes. So could you clarify the ball flight you're seeing?
Slice that starts right.
That's a good one. All right, that's the one that I was hoping you'd say. So the push slice, we've got the ball starting right, so the face is pointed right. And then the slice tells us there's an out to in swing path. So you might have the club in enough. I mean, you got to check and see if you are on video. But then after that point, downswing is probably steep. You're probably chopping a little bit this way, or you're going down on the ball in a chop-like fashion that way. That's two biggest causes of the big slice going right, because that path, when you chop, the path goes out to in rather severely. And so I recommend, if you watched the driver episode yesterday, there's a drill with the stick, swing under the stick. You won't come over the top, or you won't be steep.
Dan, I think Dan's asked this question. I want to make sure. I think he's asked it a couple times about what type of grip do you use?
I've got the Tom Saguto grip. It's really weird. I've got a grip that's really strong. Here's what it looks like. You guys can kind of see on my videos what it looks like, but sometimes it looks really strong. You see this cupping in the wrist here. That's my weakness. I'm actually working on weakening it to be more neutral, because I tend to hit too big of a draw, and I found that grip being too strong has contributed to too much of a curve. So you'll be seeing me weaken that in the coming weeks.
Yeah, I actually play with not a super weak grip. I'm pretty neutral, but yeah, I used to have a little bit stronger of a grip too, and I was overhooking it, and I would hook it off the plane.
You can hit some beautiful hooks. I mean,
He followed up with interlock or Varden.
Depends on the size of your hands and what you like to feel. As long as the grip is secure in your hands and it's not wobbling in the swing. Overlap for bigger hands, the bigger-handed people like me, I guess it's like 7.5 inches from here to here for me. So that's good for overlap. Interlock, smaller hands, generally a rule.
Dave said he's hitting behind the ball. Is that because he's still swaying to the right?
Very likely. You got to think about what influences the hula hoop or the swing to move, the contact point to move. So a couple things. You could be turning level and then chopping in the downswing. Or you could be shifting off the ball. So the best way to know for sure is that your shoulders are turning in a circle, turning down. So this, and the weight's got to be forward. If you do those two things, you'll usually hit ball first. I'd say like 99% of the time.
David asked, in one of your videos that I watched, you said to have the left shoulder low on the backswing and the right shoulder low in the follow through. However, Plummer said that the right shoulder should be low on the follow through, but it should be close to level.
Yes. So when we talk about the start of the downswing, that's probably what I'm referring to in that video, because to initiate the downswing, I start changing the direction, by moving that right shoulder a little lower, and then you get somewhat more level at impact. It's just a normal reaction of getting in between, left shoulder down and right shoulder going.
And also probably
then the extending
right?
too. But what you find is when you exit impact, that you've got that tilt back, that you got that same amount of shoulder tilt. I'm trying to do it in my chair. That same amount of tilt back the other way.
Chance said he watched your video last night. I'm also having trouble hooking the ball with my driver as well. What's the biggest cause of that? Chance, I don't know if you had an opportunity to watch the whole video, but he actually gives you an idea there to fix that. But I don't know if you want to comment real quick on that.
Yeah, it happens about, I think somewhere, it could be 10 minutes into the video that we start getting into the fixes, between 10 and 15 minutes, somewhere in there. You're going to put an alignment stick 45 degrees in the ground in front of your body, target side, and you're going to swing under that stick. You'll see it in the video, though. It's a lot easier to describe. The reason you're hooking is you're swinging too much into out, and that's putting an insane amount of draw spin on the ball. So we need to curb that into out by swinging more around our body. Swinging, if you're right-handed, you're swinging left. You're finishing lower and around to get rid of that into out path.
And then Leon asked, what Chance gave you a thumbs up there. He said, what's the initiator of the downswing, hips or pushing off the feet?
Yes, both. Well, so you could use either. There's one initiator I got a video of where I roll the right foot in. That's because there was a player, a gentleman, a senior player who I was working on. He couldn't get his hips left. He couldn't do that feeling. So I said, roll your right foot in, and then everything worked. So initiator, I like pushing off of the left leg. That seems to get everything. If I demonstrate that, this is what pushing off the left leg looks like. That's me pushing off of the weight that's forward. So it automatically moves. You can see the hips move left when I push off of the leg. That's why I like that feeling,
Right.
because everything else reacts from that.
Lee asked, I just saw Lee here a second ago. Okay, there it is. A lot of my shots veer left. Am I over rotating my upper body at finish? How do I stop this?
So veering left as in curving left, they start straight curve left.
Yeah, well, yeah, it just says a lot of my shots veer left. Let me see if she, no, they go left.
Like they just start left and like, okay,
Yes.
So they're pull shots. Biggest cause I see of consistent pulls is the downswing. You're doing a lot of up and down in your swing. You're not doing enough around and around. Up and down meaning lifting and chopping. Because whenever we go up and down, that's when the hands get the most active. That's what I've seen, and I've been there, and it's no fun. So if you're pulling a lot of shots, you're probably lifting or chopping somewhere in the swing. If you go around this way and then you turn your body back around the other way, the hands have no chance to rotate. Like really, this golf swing, square, turn back the other way. That's how easy it is. I'm in a chair, but you know,
Right.
the club face isn't rotating when I do this. That's really the golf swing, and that's how consistent it can be.
All right, guys, I'm going to stop there because I want to be respectful to Tom's time and everyone else who's been hopping on. But I'm going to send some of these questions over to Tom, and I'm going to have a replay up of all of this for everybody. I'll probably send it out tomorrow. Tonight, I'll probably send everyone all the videos, and I even actually took some time to make sure that the videos start at the right place, and I will tell you where the videos end. But before we go, I'm also going to be sending you guys the free course that Tom mentioned. If you haven't snagged that, definitely check out Saguto.golf to learn more. Tom has his own coaching program all set up for you guys. It's bite-sized, digestible videos. It costs $10 a month. Literally, like it's a price of a Starbucks coffee, as someone mentioned in the comments. It's literally $10 a month. Rick just said his site is highly recommended. It's a great opportunity for you guys to go a little bit more in depth on this. Have Tom, who's a great teacher, fantastic guy, to help you out with your golf swing. So I'm going to encourage all of you to definitely go check that out, which is at Saguto.golf. And I will be sending emails tonight, and then I'll probably send another email tomorrow with the replay of the webinar. And yes, we will have a sequel. There's multiple people on here. Like, when are you guys going to do this again? When are you guys going to do
Wayne's
this again?
World party on.
Yeah, Rick is asking for a guitar finale.
We can always arrange one.
Yeah. So I appreciate everyone spending. I mean, we still have 120 some people in here. I can't wait to see how many chat things are on there, but I guarantee you it's probably close to like 700-800 that I've been trying to field. So I might have to bring someone in here to help with navigating all the questions and stuff. But it was a great time. I'm glad that all of you enjoyed it. Tom, thank you for taking the time tonight to share some of your knowledge with everybody, and your love for the game and helping people. It's unparalleled, and I'm sure everyone here appreciates that.
Yeah, Sean, thanks again for having me on, and thanks again to all of the attendees. I really appreciate the kind words and your support. And what this is all about is getting golf to be more fun and exciting and less difficult, less stressful. And so if you find anybody on the range, because you're working on these things, if you find anybody on the range who's doing the same old stuff that, you know, like the shift and the lift, and you're saying, I was that guy, I was that person, go up to them and say, hey, do you need any help? I mean, it doesn't have to be this hard. Just go to Saguto Golf on YouTube, send them there. It's going to help. I mean, I want to get the average score of every golfer. We're going to get that into like the 59 for everybody.
Right. David just asked here real quick. One last question. How can he stay on his left side because he's still hitting off his right foot? What's one drill that he can utilize?
Yeah, one drill you can utilize. You place about 70 to 80% of your weight on your front leg. Then you will pre-straighten your trail leg, kind of like you're presetting your hip turn, and then you swing your arms. So you can feel like there's weight's not going anywhere. If you just swing the arms, you can't overuse your body. So that's a great way to feel the weight being forward. I put that in the recent video on, I think it was either the hands in one or the shoulder, that weight forward episode recently.
Awesome. All right, guys, definitely go check out Saguto.golf. Get on his membership program if you really want to learn this swing. Like I said, it's $10 a month. It's hard to beat. And thanks everyone for coming. And actually, if you stay here, if you stay on here after I close this out, it should automatically take you to the ball striking course. But in case it doesn't, don't worry about it. I'm sending you an email anyways. All right, guys, take care.
Again.
Thank you, Tom.
Have a rocking week, everybody.
There we go.